Welcome to the Teacher's Toolkit for Literacy, the free podcast for motivated teachers and school leaders who want to inspire their students and school community in literacy learning. Make sure you subscribe to the show on your favourite podcast player, and for more amazing literacy resources, check out the show notes provided with every episode.
Hi, I'm Sharon and I'm the host of A Teacher's Toolkit for Literacy. In every Toolkit episode, we bring you specific resources, tools, strategies, tips, techniques to help you in your job as a teacher of literacy. Firstly, we acknowledge and pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we gather on. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationship of the Kaurna people to country, and we respect and value their past, present and ongoing connection to the land and cultural beliefs. And welcome, Phil.
Thanks, Sharon, and welcome, Rob, to our podcast. It's been a while, Rob, since we've had you.
Yes. I can't believe it, Phil. It's what's been going on. It's been too long, but it's nice to be back for your podcast.
Yeah, and congratulations on being a grandparent. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, mate. That's it's big news for young Patrick Robert. I squeezed my name in there, so which was very good. So no, all good. Thank you, mate. Yes,
right. So Robert the second.
Yes.
So it's a royal family, probably.
Probably, yeah. Absolutely.
Now, Rob, we're talking today about the maths proficiencies, and I'm sure there are people that are not sure what they are, and there are people that know what they are and they use them. But can you explain a bit about what they are, the maths proficiencies?
I understand why people don't know about them or believe they're not using them when, if they're actually doing some really good lessons, they would be using them.
Right. Yep.
As in, they've been out there, Phil. They've been out there from the start. There's 4 proficiencies. There's fluency, which is just your ability to effectively and accurately use sort of your number sense. It's not meant to be misinterpreted as knowing your tables. It's so much more than that, and mental computation subsumes that. So it's nowhere near as narrow as that. Fluency is a lot more than that. It's even an ability to articulate your maths.
Okay.
What you're doing. Reasoning is these are in no order,
right.
Because they're all intertwined. If you've got a good lesson, you're probably going to be getting all 4. Just with you may not know it, and the kids may not have the words, but reasoning is just being able to justify, to explain why you've come up with an answer, be it right or wrong. Well, what's your reasoning? Where's your evidence? So once you talk about some questions that really bring out reasoning, understanding, which is just what it means. Like, it's not just doing it by rote. Do you actually understand the concept of place value? Do you actually realise it's what place a digit ends up in gives it the value, and can you apply that understanding?
Yeah, because rote is very shallow, isn't it? It's just kind of memorising something. You don't really get it, but you and
exactly.
often we were taught that way back in the 1800s, and didn't do much for us.
No, mathematically it didn't, which is ironic because I make a living out of it now. But it's it was either rote or nothing. And I had a head for tables, but I never knew what I was doing. I could never explain when Sister Colette at St. Teresa's in Bendigo used to 6 sevens, and I knew it was 42, but I didn't know why. I brought no maths to the table. All I brought was a sort of photographic memory of the tables. That's all I brought. I was as deep as a puddle.
You're as good as your last memory, aren't you?
Exactly. So I didn't know it was double 21 or half 42, or like I said, 6 weeks. I brought no context, no meaning, nothing to it. So of course, I was going to get found out in maths, and I did. And then problem solving is just your ability to apply what you know in mathematics, whether that comes from the reasoning, the understanding, the content of math, and being able to apply that in a situation where you need to get an answer or hopefully multiple answers. And so problem solving, I guess, is about the application, how it's applied.
Yeah.
people talk about a fifth one, which is Burroughs and Raymond have done some work on this in it from I think they were Melbourne Uni when they did it, and it's been mentioned a few times. But a productive disposition. So it's that it's that motivation from good problems and tasks that you actually enjoy producing work, and that you actually do produce work, multiple answers, as in an open-ended problem, that you actually have a disposition that says, yeah, I'm going to get some work done here, and I'm going to do plenty of it. So
it's kind of like the way you are naturally. This is how you come into a classroom, and
that's right. That's born of a motivation towards mathematics, and it gets back, all of it, everything, every time gets back to the tasks and problems that we give our kids. They need to be engaging.
So they're kind of the lubricant for maths, are they? These proficiencies that sort of keep the whole show going.
Yeah, they're fundamental to learning maths, and because it's how they're applied across all the content. Look, for me, they are the thing. Like, it's for some people, still don't know what they are. And for some, that they're like, what are they really? They're just a nebulous, fuzzy thing out there.
Oh yeah.
But for me, they are the thing, and I think of maths as using the content to get at the proficiencies. Like, what task can I give a kid that's actually going to develop their fluency, their reasoning, their understanding, or their problem solving, or all four in the same task? Like, it's not hard. I don't think that it's because there's four and you've got to treat them all separately. No, they're constantly intertwined. And like I said, with a productive disposition, that, I'm of a motivation here to get some work done, and I'm looking forward to the task.
So the ultimate target you're aiming for is the maths proficiency.
Yeah, exactly. And you use the content to get there. At the moment, it doesn't feel like that to a lot of teachers, because, and understandably, they've been, I don't know, I think of it, feel like they're out there where Pluto, which is a planet, by the way. Let's get that straight. It's maybe a dwarf planet, but it is a planet. Like, I just say, feels when they took their planethood away from Pluto, it was a very sad day for him. Anyway, so it was. They've been floating out there on the edge of the solar system, and Akara have been trying to put in questions into the old napalm to actually say, look, we're conscious of them, and I admire them for that. But
just translate for people. That's NAPLAN. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, so to the NAPLAN, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, bad habit.
Okay.
But I think there's some good people who are trying to say, no, the proficiencies, let's bring them in closer to earth here, and I think there's some real efforts being made by Akara, by universities, and some good consultants who really just say, no, these aren't shallow, they're not a fuzzy thing. If only there was actually some sort of way of really assessing them, but it's so hard to assess, like, problem solving without doing just a closed problem and it gets an answer. So
So to assess them, you really probably need to watch a kid as they're working. Is that right?
Yeah. Basically, samples of work would give you a real insight into it there, and it's it's actually a really good point, Phil. Well made. It's actually listening. So much of how I assess a kid around the proficiencies is just listening, because it's how they respond to questions like. And these are fundamental questions, but we just got to continually ask them, why did you do it like that? I love it, or how'd you go about getting that answer? Which is a great way of asking a kid whether, even if they're right or even if they're wrong, isn't it?
But they could write those. They could write those responses down, couldn't they?
Yes, they could. But I reckon we're starting to also miss the point with the proficiency, Phil, is that we should be starting these in kindergarten. Like, you can have a 4 or 5 year old absolutely reason, sometimes unreasonably reasonable. It's just the fact that they're articulating something and they have an understanding already. Like, it's like kids in foundation understand fractions. But, we've got to ask them how, why. And so those questions of how and why are critical. And sometimes we let kids get away with it, especially little kids or kids at the other end of the school in upper primary and lower secondary. They tell us, "Oh, we just did it in our head," or "I just did it in my head," and then we let that go. Like, no, don't let that go. How did your head do it? Show me what you did. Where's your evidence?
Yep.
And so it's starting that from foundation. That the proficiencies do not apply just to upper primary or secondary. Man, they start. Like I said, you can have a kindergarten kid explain something to you in reason, and it's sometimes just hilarious. But it's that they are capable of understanding and reasoning, and they're very capable of solving problems. So we just need to start this young and realise that the proficiencies aren't shallow. They are the thing in maths.
Yeah.
This is what we want from our kids.
So with a lesson, the way we were taught, we were given a sum and we would have to figure out the answer to it, and that was about it. How can a teacher who thinks that way because they might have been taught that way, how can they improve a lesson, like say in number, to include these proficiencies?
First thing is to be conscious of them. Like it's almost like you can do an audit back from the task that you've chosen and just say, okay, I was going to do this with the kids. Then you think, oh, gosh, how much reasoning is in that?
Yep.
Will the kids be explaining stuff? Are they actually understanding this by giving them this task? Are they actually understanding what repeated addition's all about and how it leads to multiplication?
So
maybe not. Are they solving a problem?
So that goes back to the quality of the task you're going to give them?
Absolutely.
Because if you just give them 13 plus 12, that's it. Give me the answer. There ain't much room for reasoning.
No, there isn't. Whereas you can just say 25 is the answer.
Yep.
What two numbers can I add to get to 25?
Yep.
Now I've got multiple answers. Now I've got a kid that's showing that's some kids going, oh man, 25 plus 0, 24 plus 1, 23 plus 2. And they've got a total understanding, and their problem solving skills of patterning is to the fore. Somebody else might be doing it hit and miss, but their understanding is there. And then I can extend the task out to what three numbers can you add? I can introduce algebra into it. Let's make it A plus B plus C. Or I can make it A plus C. So, oh man, two of the numbers have to be the same, like 10 and 10 and 5. Hold on, but it could be 7 and 7 and 11. So all of a sudden you've got yourself a pretty good task. And that was a good example, Phil. Like that's something that's shallow. 12 plus whatever the one you said was 12 plus 13. But you're not getting it you'll get minimum fluency, no reasoning, no understanding. And it's not a problem. It's a sum. Don't mix up a problem with it. That's just a sum to get an answer to. So neither rich nor engaging. So
going into the quality of maths lessons again, is making them open like that one of the best ways to get the proficiencies going? I mean, giving an answer and then you work out all the ways you can get that answer. Is that just one way to do that, or is that kind of the best way to think about it? Is it?
Oh, look, open tasks have the answer to the question is yes, but open tasks also, and I'm not, I'm always opposed to do this, and you've heard me say it, Phil. I don't have an expectation that every task you do is open, because I'd be a hypocrite. I do some tasks, a lot of tasks that are closed, but their minimum though is that they're engaging. They are engaging tasks, even though they're closed. And I'm always then conscious, hold on, because it's actually a skill in teaching to actually recognise whether a task you're doing with your kids is open or closed. Where it is open, the bonus for that is that will then make it quite easy to differentiate or cater for the range of abilities in a classroom, because an open task, by its nature, you can move up and you can move down.
Yep.
And they're a gift to teaching open-ended tasks, but I'm not saying at any stage that every task you do should be open. I don't know, majority, and whether that means 51% or 70%, I'll leave it up to the thousands who listen to the podcast to work out whether what the interpretation is. But I love open-ended tasks because it minimises my planning. I've got the one task to cater for all my kids. If it's a true good open-ended task, I've got the 4 proficiencies there, and I'm conscious of them, and that's what we need to be. Audit back, look at your task and go, is this a task that attends to some or all of the proficiencies, because they are very much intertwined.
Right, so if you had an open task and you're aiming for, say, fluency and reasoning, what would you be thinking about in that lesson? So it was that addition one where you had 25 and how many ways can you get 25? And you're trying to think about fluency.
Well, pleasing. Bring that cat in here, it needs some deep pleasing.
And ruancy. No, fluency and reasoning. Or whatever. When you're thinking about that, how do you think about it to make it happen? Like, this is probably a big question, but
that is, Phil. I'd like I've had a coffee.
And you might need a whiteboard to explain it.
You know, I can't work properly without a whiteboard.
And a meter ruler.
And a meter ruler. It's the task like the one we spoke about, where you can flip that from a closed task to an open one.
Yeah.
That actually will show some understanding in the sense that, look, it's A plus B. I can actually flip that around to B plus A.
Oh, yeah.
I've got one answer, I get another answer. So there's an understanding there that the order or the community property actually doesn't matter. There's the ability within the problem. It's a problem to solve now. So there's multiple answers. And one of your strategies in problem solving is, one, yes, I understand the problem.
Yep.
So it gets back to understanding straight away, and that I can generate more than one answer from the same base. Like I can go from a near double, like 12 plus 13, and I can take that back, 11 plus 14, and that's that generating a pattern now can give me actually every answer.
Yep.
My reasoning is that all I have to do is a balance of 25 on the left side to get to the 25, which is the answer on the right side. So as long as I balance my equation on the left to equal a total on the right, now I am solidly using reasoning there. And if you then can explain that thinking to me, and that if you know skills like near doubles and so on, your fluency's there. So in a real sense, that task, it's got them all. It's got them all.
So is it kind of that you are more, rather than planning that you're going to have them happening, it's that you're coming towards the end of the lesson and you're reviewing with the child and you're figuring out what those proficiencies are that they've been using. Is it that way? Or
yeah, look, I don't want to make more work for teachers. Like it's the proficiencies are a real a consciousness thing. Like it's looking at your task. I would be really looking at this in terms of your planning, and I don't mean heavy planning. I mean just putting together a unit of work that's engaging. The majority of the lessons in the unit of the work are open, and just doing that audit back, just saying, hold on, this task I got from Twinkle that's part of my multiplication and division unit.
Dodgy.
Reasoning, nah. Understanding, NaH. Nah. Problem solving, nah.
Well, what about?
All right.
What about?
It gets a flick. If you audit back that task against the proficiencies and it doesn't stack up, it gets out, and you look for something else, or you email Rob, or you go to my website, or you get some really good resources online or written. And just say, okay, I owe it to my kids to have lessons that actually really address the proficiencies. So I need to do them. I need to get my rich, engaging tasks. And worksheets don't cut it. They just don't. If you look at worksheets and line them up against the proficiencies and do your audit against the proficiencies, they're nowhere near it. Like they are nowhere near it. So so that's a fail. A bail.
You'd probably say something like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, nah.
a famous Rob saying, I think.
So, great. That applies beautifully to mathematics, actually. It does a lot of maths and
Yeah, no. So definitely they help with differentiation because you're improving the quality of your lesson by, naturally tending towards open-ended problems, and they're perfect. Especially, we were working in a regional school a couple of weeks ago, and it's prep to 2 in one class and 3 to 6 in another class. So a whole mixture of grades in the same class, and programs don't cut it. Like worksheets don't cut it. You're photocopying a million worksheets.
I was going to say the poor photocopy. If you've got teachers that don't have the head around differentiation, that photocopier is working overtime. And it's just so funny. Like in that grade of 3 to 6 class, there'll be grade 3s who are smarter than some of the grade 5s.
Yes.
They will because age is such a false thing to intelligence. It's got a link to maturity, obviously, but it's not a link to mathematical ability. For instance, I regularly get. I was in a prep one too. I was last year, but there was two preps in there. They were, oh man, they cut it with the grade 2s. They were and beyond. They were just sensational. So So I just had the one task for all, and it was the old car park problem. There's 30 wheels in the car park. There's some cars that have got 4. There were some motorbikes that have got 2, and there were some vans dropping off some stuff to the canteen. And it's the vans with the double wheels at the back, so they had 6 wheels. I counted 30 wheels, kids. How many could have been cars? How many could have been motorbikes? How many vans could there have been? And then you take them through the problem-solving strategies. Off they went, and it was just all kids engaged, all kids.
Because that's the other thing, you make the problems something that's relevant to them. They're interested in cars and they're interested in.
Everyone knows what a car park is. Like it's just you're 4 and you know what a car park is. It's so there was the context was there. I challenged the kids to come up with at least 4 different combinations of cars, motorbikes, and vans. But it was taking them through the strategies, giving them a bit of I call it a sniff of each strategy. So kids are draw a diagram or make a model. I had 4 kids who did work backwards because they get the concept that vehicles leave a car park. Like at the end of the day, at 12 o'clock at night, there's no cars in the car park, or they've all left. So it's subtraction. So 30, out goes a car, that's -4, you're down to 26. Out goes a motorbike, you're down to 24. Out goes another car, you're down to 20. So make a table. Kids were able to choose. I was able to look at their work, talk to the kids. I know they're problem solving, but where's your understanding? A kid who's using work backwards totally understands the concept that their car park is full. Now it's getting emptier, and that is subtraction. I get this. I understand it. Where's your reasoning? Well, I'm reasoning if there's 4 vans, and that means 4 lots of 6. And so my fluency then is I understand that that's like repeated addition. Instead of 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, I can actually do 4 lots of 6. So look, that's what you get from the one lesson. It's got all 4, and the productive disposition is encouraged by me being an open problem, saying, I need you to produce more than one answer. Apply what you've just learnt, get another answer for me. Apply what you've just learnt, get another answer. So
we don't have to be up till midnight at night figuring out what photocopying we do for which child.
Or group, exactly. It's a huge saving on your photocopying, but it's just
we don't have enough forests in Australia to
cope with
keep up
with some of the stuff that's being given out. And look, teachers go for it, understandably, and principals go for programs that are worksheet based because they feel like there's been a promise that this program addresses the Australian curriculum. I know my teachers will all be doing it, so I get why, but that doesn't make it right.
No.
And then you just say, just explain to me, whatever school this is, how you're addressing the 4 proficiencies, and you're either going to get one answer, well, they don't really count, or you're going to go, or you're going to get the answer. Sorry, mate. They are part of the Australian curriculum. They are out there, and like I said, I wish they were in closer instead of being out where Pluto is. I want it to be where the moon is. Really close, close. The people are very conscious of that. In the end, and I've said it before already, Phil, but they are the thing in maths.
Yeah.
And to me, the content is the means at getting at the proficiency.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. And we'll take a break there from part 1 of our podcast. We look forward to you joining us for part 2. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. To make sure you don't miss any literacy learning tips and insights, please subscribe to our show on your favourite podcast player. At Q Learning, our literacy specialists draw on over 30 years of teaching and international consulting experience to deliver world-class learning solutions. We equip, empower and support teachers to become their authentic selves. To find out about upcoming webinars and about how Q can help you and your school, visit qlearning.com.au. And you can get even more amazing teaching resources right now at teachific.com.au. Stay tuned.